recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. You kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I put my
And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Hey, your surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your chin or is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Married my girl, be my ferry to the world, be my very own constellation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. And buy me a star on a boulevard, it's Californication. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. In Cobain, can you hear the spheres singing songs off station to station? And Alderon's not far away, it's Californication. Born and raised by loads of praise, control of population. Everybody's been there and I don't need no vacation. Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Destruction leads to a very rough road, but it also breeds creation. An earthquake's out to a girl's guitar, that's just another good vibration. And tidal waves couldn't save the world from Californication. Hey, your surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Sicker than the rest, there is no test, but this is what you're craving. Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. I would swallow my pride, I would choke on the rinds, but the lack thereof would leave me empty inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. Wanna put my tender heart in a blender, walk
would choke on the rhymes, but the lack thereof will make me empty inside. I would swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. Wanna put my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, then I'm through with you. SoCal is where my mind stays, but it's not my state of mind. I'm not as ugly, sad as you. Or am I origami, folded up and just pretend, demented as the motives in your head. I would swallow my pride, I would choke on the rhymes, but the lack thereof will leave me empty inside. I would swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. Wanna put my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, then I'm through with you. I alone am the one you don't know you need. Take heed, feed your ego. Make me blind when your eyes close. Think when you get close, tie me to the bedpost. I alone am the one you don't know you need. You don't know you need me. Make me blind when your eyes close. Tie me to the bedpost. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. Wanna put my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, then I'm through. Now I'm through with you. You sit there in your heartache, waiting on some beautiful boy to save you from your old ways. You play forgiveness, watch it now, here he comes. He doesn't look a thing like Jesus, but he talks like a gentleman, like you imagined when you were young. Can we climb this mountain? I don't know. Higher now than ever before. I know we can make it if we take it slow. That's taking easy, easy now. Watch it go. Running down the highway skyline on the back of a hurricane that started turning when you were young. Woo! When you were young. And sometimes you close your eyes and see the place where you used to live when you were young. They say the devil's water, it ain't so sweet. You don't have to drink right now, but you can dip your feet every once in a little while. You play forgiveness, watch it now, here he comes. He doesn't look a thing like Jesus, but he talks like a gentleman, like you remember when you were young. Talks like a gentleman, like you remember when you were young. I said he doesn't look a thing like Jesus. He doesn't look a thing like Jesus. But more than you'll ever know. Memories are just where you laid them. Drag the waters till the depths give up their dead. What did you expect to find? Was it something you left behind? Don't you remember anything I said when I said, don't fall away, leave me to myself. Don't fall away, and leave life bleeding in my hands, in my hands again. Leave life bleeding in my hands, in my hands. Life bleeding. Hold me now, I feel contagious. Am I the only place that you left to go? She cries that life is like some movie black and white, and actors vacant lights over and over and over again. She cries, don't fall away, leave me to myself. Don't fall away, leave life bleeding in my hands, in my hands again. Leave life bleeding in my hands, in my hands. Life bleeding, and I wanted you turned away. You don't remember, but I do. You never even tried. Don't fall away and leave me to myself. Don't fall away and leave love bleeding in my hands, in my hands again. Leave love bleeding in my hands, in my hands again. Leave love bleeding in my hands, in my hands again.
Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, live on LouTube for you. Welcome to the College Football Call-In Show. Taught some college football today. And this is the only show I'm doing about Arch Manning. So, whatever questions you may or may not have, your thoughts or opinions on Arch Manning, whatever the case. No, you don't have to talk about Arch Manning. I'm just saying today's the only day I'm doing it. I'm so sick of the Arch Manning thing. It's I can't even stand it anymore. I'm tired of being asked about it. I'm tired of having to answer the same questions over and over again in the comment sections about Arch Manning. So I recorded an Arch Manning video today. It's posting at 5:30. I'm going to play it for you at some point during the live show, though, so you don't even have to wait to watch it. But that's it. I'm not making any more Arch Manning videos. So it is what it is. Arch Manning is just another recruit. That's all he is. Whether he goes to Georgia, Bama, Texas, or the moon, he's just another recruit. I'm sick of hearing about it now. I've exceeded my Arch Manning quote. You can't get on Facebook. You can't go to no sports group, sports blog 24/7, Saturday Down South, Twitter. It's just the Arch Manning parade, and it's never ending. I got news here. Arch Manning is not Trevor Lawrence. That I can tell you. So his last name is what it is. But is he terrible? No, he's not terrible. But you'd think Arch Manning was the only football recruit in the history of mankind. Jahmyr Gibbs will get more yards than Bijan Robinson. You talking about just in that game or for the season? Because for the season, I'll take Bijan Robinson. Anyway, appreciate everybody tuning in today. Hit the thumbs up if you're excited for the show today. If you're excited for college football, it's getting closer. Less than 3 months away, right? So, getting 2.5 months away, really. Week 0 is what? September 27th, something like that. So we're 2.5 months away, about 13 weeks away. It'll be here before you know it. Summertime is here. People have vacations and 4th of July stuff coming up. The summer will fly by. Before you know it, we'll be in July with media days for all the conferences, and then August will be here, and we'll have summer camp and then fall practice and kickoff coming up week 0, September 27th, and then week 1 starting the weekend of September 4th, and we'll be in full go mode. It'll be here before you know it. I am here to help pass the time for you, and y'all are here to help pass the time for me. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a give and a take. It's a give and a take. If this channel does nothing else during the off season, it does help pass the time. It does help pass the time. So I appreciate all of you hanging out with me here on the channel, not just today, but year round. Gives us a place where you can come and talk college football, talk a little trash. Some channels don't allow that. Some channels want to block you from the comment section or whatever if you talk any trash. Trash talk's a part of college football. I don't know how you separate the two. So welcome to the show. Shout out to everybody that's here. Captain Trips, Easy Money, Casey Purvis, Zona Tucson, Raugsy Vids, Chaos, Edward Goldstein, Ferris, Jerome, Double T Sports, Matthew Walker, Paxton, Battle Angel, Octavius, Lemur M8, Bread Pitt, Jarvis S, Jonathan Aaron, David Relaford, everybody in the comment section. Shout out to all of you. Those of you watching and for whatever reason not participating in the best comment section on all of YouTube, shout out to you too. Would strongly consider jumping into the comment section. Look, you might accidentally make a few friends in the comment section. I've done it. I've got some of my best friends I met right here in the comment section on YouTube and on other college football channels as well. So regardless of the trash talk and the hell, I've been known to get angry a time or two myself, but regardless of all that, these are 99% good people here. So participate in the community. The more the merrier. Speaking of participating in the community, 3rd Annual Slob Olympics coming up next March 3rd through 5th at the Isle of Palms in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. Come join some of your favorite college football YouTubers and subscribers at the 3rd Annual Slob Olympics. The first two were a huge success. The first one was in Atlanta back in 2021. The second one was this past March in Pigeon Forge. And coming up next year, we're headed to the land of Pigskin Pete. That's right, Charleston, South Carolina, Isle of Palms, March 3rd through 5th. Come hang out with us. You'll have a great time. We had, 40 or 50 people there last year. We had a really good time. Or this past year, Pigeon Forge. Had a really good time. A really good time. If you want to join the show, the StreamYard link is in the description of the video. I will also post it every once in a while in the chat section. All you have to do is tap that StreamYard link. You'll be put in a queue to join the show. How's that? It literally doesn't get any easier than that. It literally doesn't get any easier than that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey Lou, it's great. How you doing, sir?
Hey Nate, what's up, buddy? I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Just a couple questions for you. So my question for you is for college football, but my first question. Will Michigan repeat this year, or will they have a little setback this year?
Repeat what?
Like what they did like last year.
Will Michigan beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten, and lose in the first round of the playoffs? No.
No? Okay.
They won't do any of those things.
Okay then.
They won't beat Ohio State. They won't beat Ohio State. They won't win the Big Ten, and they won't lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay. So my second question is, what Group of 5 team do you think is going to make a New Year's Six Bowl if they do?
Houston.
Houston? Okay.
That's my pick this year for the best. Now, whether or not they make a New Year's Six Bowl, that's hard to tell, but I do think Houston will be the best Group of 5 team this season.
All right. But, yeah, and thank you, Lou. That's all I have right now. Have a good day.
All right, Nate, thanks for taking the time to come on, buddy. It was good to hear from you. Want to come on the show, just tap the StreamYard link. I just posted it in the comments section. It's also in the description of the video. I've got some thoughts on Arch Manning. I'm just waiting on the video to get done processing, and then I'll play it for you. It's posting to my YouTube channel at 5:30, but as soon as it's done processing, I can go ahead and play it for you early here on the show, and you'll find out everything you wanted to know about my opinions on Arch Manning, his recruitment, and where he's headed. So that will be coming up here in just a few minutes. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and if you'd like to support the show, Cash App, Super Chat, and PayPal are 3 great ways to do it. The Super Chat icon is located right below the comment section. Just tap that icon. You can support the show directly that way. If you have a PayPal or a Cash App, those links are located in the description of the video. YouTube steals half your Super Chat. Cash App and PayPal don't. You can attach a note to any one of those 3 options. You can attach a note, comment, question, troll, attempt, whatever the case. I'll be happy to read it and respond. All of these live shows are supported directly by your generosity. So I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good.
Good. I got a couple of questions.
All right, you're going to have to speak up a little bit. We're having a real hard time hearing you.
Is that better?
That's a little better, yeah.
All right. Couple quick questions for you. One, is a mustard bottle part of Tennessee's equipment now?
Yes, it's the greatest sport. It's the greatest tradition in all of sports. Tennessee losing, it's fans crying and throwing mustard bottles on the field. It's the greatest tradition in all of sports. Second greatest tradition is Tennessee losing.
Yeah, I was wondering if they might have had an NIL deal with Frank's, or if that was too up class. It might be great value or something.
You know what? That's a good idea. Somebody over at French's Mustard Company should get on top of that. Yeah. Yeah. Or I don't know. Is there a way to give fans an NIL deal?
I would like it, even though I'm not a Tennessee fan. Give me some money.
What about if you just? What about you don't get any money? You just get free mustard for life.
Well, They might have to ask Billy Napier since he looks like Carl Childers. He probably enjoy it.
Damn, Carl Childers ain't got no gas in it.
But my main question was, I know everybody everywhere with how you started off the show was about art. I think that he will probably come to UGA out of Texas and Alabama. But I was just wondering, besides him, who are the other three that you would potentially want out of the group that went last weekend and the weekend before that?
You talking about specifically quarterbacks or?
No, players.
Oh,
big
I
time.
don't. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know who was there. I say this all the time. I do not follow recruiting. I only know anything about Arch Manning because nobody will shut up about him. But I do not follow recruiting. I don't really pay attention to recruiting until November and December when signing day is coming around. So I couldn't even tell you who was in Athens, who Georgia's targets are. I really have no idea.
I know they had like two big 5-star wide receivers show up with Arch, and then they had the Justice Haynes and all that. But
I'll tell you this: the only way, and I mean the only way, Georgia is getting any top flight wide receiver is if they get Arch Manning, because you'd have to be out of your ever loving mind if you're a top wide receiver and you come to Georgia. You would have to be completely out of your gourd.
yeah, but I mean, we were able to get George Pickens. I mean, somehow.
Yeah, we got George Pickens 3 years ago, A.J. Green 14 years ago, and Hines Ward 25 years ago. Those are the only three top flight receivers we've had in my lifetime. Ohio State gets 3 of those a year.
Yes, sir, they do. But I honestly feel out of the top 3 schools that they're talking, that he probably will come to Georgia. So from Art, out of Texas, Alabama's already got their 5-star quarterback.
Yeah.
And then us. So
yeah.
Those are just my thoughts on it, sir.
No, I agree with some of what you're saying. I'm going to play a video here in a few minutes that talks about a lot of what you just said, my opinions on it. But I agree with a lot of what you're saying there.
All right. Well, you have a good morning, sir.
Yeah, you too. I appreciate you coming on. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning, Uncle Lou. This is Eric Johnson, live from Athens, Georgia. I got 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
If Archie Manning chooses to go to the greatest team of all time in college football history, that is the Georgia Bulldogs, how well do you think the dynamic of the piss poor vanilla ice cream Georgia offense will elevate with his presence on campus?
I don't think it'll elevate at all. I don't think it'll elevate or change at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not falling for it anymore. We've got 3 Arch Mannings on our roster right now that can't get on the field. So.
Yeah. Okay, and my second question is from that last caller who was talking about the French's mustard being part of the Tennessee tradition.
Yeah.
Tennessee fans are forgetting the trash cans, so can they add that to their concession stand?
Oh, you know what? Yes, that is something that gets forgotten, and it shouldn't, is that Tennessee trash can. I mean, hell, I even went out and bought one of those trash cans and painted a giant T on it and had it in my videos for years. That is something that's been forgotten that shouldn't have been. We should never let Tennessee forget about that friggin' trash can they had. That was the dumbest sideline gimmick of all time.
Yeah, and my final question is, once we get the on Georgia Tech's ass again, do you think it will ever be another epic fight like the George Pickens chokes heard around the world again?
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about rivalry games, yes, I do think something like that will happen again at some point in the future. I mean, it's hard to predict when or who would be involved. You are right about us whipping Georgia Tech again, though. You know what? I'm going to be serious with you for a minute when it comes to Georgia Tech. There's a lot of talk about, 10, 15 years down the road, college football shrinking down to maybe somewhere between 30, 40, or 50 legitimate, what we now would refer to as Power 5 teams. I don't think Georgia Tech will be one of them if that happens. I just don't think Georgia Tech as an institution is committed to football. I really don't. I hate to say that. As much as I hate Georgia Tech, it's an in-state school. It's a rivalry game for Georgia. But I I would not be surprised at all if in 20 years from now there is no Georgia Tech football team.
Well, they can always look at unlimited Pokemon reruns.
Well, yeah, well, that's what they've been doing. Yeah, and that's what they've been doing with the the Pokemon and the Star Trek conventions instead of concentrating on football. And look, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in the grand scheme of things with an institution like Georgia Tech deciding, look, we're just not dumping any more resources into football. I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that. But if you're going to be serious in the world of college football going forward, you have to be all in, or you're just not going to survive. And Georgia Tech is teetering on that right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you for answering my questions, Uncle Lou. I'm gonna let you go on and show this video on Archie Manning. Hopefully, he makes the right decision. We don't want your power level going over 9,000, like certain past videos with these recruitment.
Yeah. All right, thanks, buddy. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Uncle Lou?
What's up, Octavian?
What's going on, man? I just got a question about Tennessee quarterback. What you think about Tennessee's quarterback, Nico?
Nico, I'm about to leave her.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, again, I don't follow recruiting, so I only can go off of what the recruiting services say, and they say he's pretty good. So
he's big. For what I've been hearing, he's killing it at the 7-on-7s.
Yeah,
he's been killing it.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be Tennessee. I think that's the best quarterback Tennessee's had since Peyton Manning. To be honest with you,
it could be. Now he looks like a toothpick, and honestly, he looks like a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of high school players are undersized when they first get into college, whether it's a quarterback or, a lot of times you'll see an offensive lineman that they want to gain some weight or a defensive lineman that they want to gain some weight. He's going to have to put some weight on. He won't last a season looking like he looks right now. He's thin as a rail. I don't know if he's got tapeworms or he's just a very thin individual, but he's going to have to put on some weight. But I don't know anything about him specifically other than what the recruiting services say, and they say he's pretty good.
Have you heard about the $8 million deal that Tennessee threw to him?
Well, I heard about the $8 million deal that went to an anonymous player, and I've heard the rumors that it was him. Yeah, I have. I have heard that.
It was him.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you for having me on, Uncle Lou. Go Gators.
Yeah, good to hear from you, buddy. Good to hear from you. All right, there's nobody else waiting to come on right now, so let me check and see if this video is ready. And I will play you my thoughts on Archie Manning. I guess I've avoided this as long as I can, and really, the only reason I'm making this video now is because I'm just tired. Hold on, I might have to wait a few minutes because it's not done processing. If you don't have a YouTube channel, you won't know what this means, but it's not done processing yet, so it's a little choppy right now. Let me try it again. I guess I've avoided this as long as I can, and really, the only reason I'm making this video now is because I'm just tired of answering comments, the same comments over and over again in the comment section. For those of you who've been around this channel for years, for more than 4 years, you'll remember I used to make some recruiting videos. If you weren't around 4 or 5 years ago, just look up Uncle Lou Aubrey Solomon, or look up Uncle Lou Demetrius Robinson. I stopped following recruiting because it just was driving me up the wall. With the committing, the uncommitting, the decommitting, the recommitting. These Hollywood production announcement ceremonies. It just was, well, I'll be honest with you, my heart doctor told me I didn't need to be following recruiting anymore. He said it was driving me to an early grave, and I believed him. But this Arch Manning situation is just taking on a life of its own. I hear people talking about it every day, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, other YouTube channels, whatever, in real life. It seems like everybody has an opinion on Arch Manning, and then everyone has questions about Arch Manning, and I'm just getting tired of having to type out the same answers over and over again in the comment section. So, 2023, number 1 overall prospect, quarterback out of Louisiana, Arch Manning, of course, from the Manning family. Found out early on he wasn't going to Tennessee or Ole Miss. It basically, in the end, has boiled down to 3 teams: Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. There were other teams in the running along the way. I think at one point he had a final 5 that may have had Clemson in it, and maybe one other school. Anyway, it's down to those 3: Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. So first off, what are my thoughts on Arch Manning in general as a player, as a prospect, as a future college quarterback? I am not a recruiting expert. I'm here to tell you, people who follow recruiting full time, and that's all they do. If you really want to be an expert on recruiting, you don't really have time to follow anything else. You pretty much have to dedicate yourself to recruiting. I'm not going to come on here and predict that Arch Manning is going to be the greatest quarterback ever, the worst quarterback ever, somewhere in between. I'm not going to compare him to, oh, he's going to do what such and such did. I don't follow it that well. So as far as, if you clicked on this video looking for expert opinion on recruiting, you clicked on the wrong video. This is pretty much an opinion channel anyway. I do have some opinions about Arch Manning. I'm not here to tell you these are true or accurate. These are just my opinions. I worry about the league he plays in. From what I understand, he plays in a small private league in Louisiana. And if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know down below. Again, I'm not a recruiting expert. I say it a million times. But from what I hear, he plays in a small private league in Louisiana. Now, I know he goes to all these camps and he does well, and he's got the size and the height and the arm strength and the speed, and he can run, and he's mobile, and he's athletic, and I get all that, and that's great. That's great. But I always worry about somebody who plays in a small league. Like Brock Vandagriff is a good example. Brock Vandagriff put up ridiculous numbers in some small private Christian league no one's ever heard of in the middle of Georgia, and now he can't get on the field in college. Been there 2 years, so... now that doesn't mean he's going to be bad. It's just one of the things I'm looking at when I look at Arch Manning. I will tell you this, in terms of the hype that Arch Manning is receiving, the closest thing I have seen in recent years, and by recent years I mean a decade, when it comes to the hype that Arch Manning is getting, the closest I have seen to that is Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence was from the state of Georgia, where I'm from, so I couldn't help but kind of keep up with his high school development and recruitment. If you were a college football fan in the state of Georgia, you knew who Trevor Lawrence was from the time he was in 8th grade. Trevor Lawrence is the best high school quarterback I've ever seen, period. I don't want to hear about Deshaun Watson. I don't want to hear about Andrew Luck. I don't want to hear about anybody. He's the best high school quarterback I have ever seen, period. Again, coming from someone who's not a recruiting expert, I was 100% certain that Trevor Lawrence was going to be an NFL player when he was in 10th grade. 10th, there was no doubt or question about it. If the NFL and college didn't have the 3-year agreement, where you have to be 3 years removed from high school, there's no doubt in my mind an NFL team would have drafted him straight out of high school, period. Not first round. He would have gone first round out of high. I don't think anybody would go right now first round out of high school. But he would have got picked up by an NFL team after his senior year of high school. After his first year at Clemson, he was a number 1 NFL draft pick, period. He didn't need to play year 2 and year 3 for Clemson. He didn't need to play. He's the most NFL-ready high school quarterback I have ever seen. I've read a bunch of articles that give that title to Andrew Luck. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't really following recruiting when Andrew Luck was coming up through high school, and what would that have been, the mid-2000s, I guess? So I don't know that. But a lot of articles give that title to Andrew Luck. But Trevor Lawrence is the most NFL-ready high school quarterback I've ever seen. I don't think Arch Manning is Trevor Lawrence. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Doesn't mean that Arch Manning's not going to be a great college quarterback. Doesn't mean that Arch Manning's not going to end up being a number 1 overall pick in the NFL and making Pro Bowls and winning Super Bowls, and hell, he'd go to the Hall of Fame for all I know. I'm just talking about what I see with my own eyes when I watch these two people play. To me, Arch Manning is no Trevor Lawrence. He's no Trevor Lawrence. I think he's really, really good. Is he overhyped? Well, it's always possible that any player is overhyped, right? Well, we see it all the time. Not every 5-star pans out. Not every first-round NFL draft pick makes it in the NFL. We see overhyped people all the time for one reason or another. So let's talk about his last name, Manning. It's an obvious advantage, at least when it comes to perception and recruiting. Now, it can be a disadvantage, too. Living with that pressure and sort of under the shadow of Archie Griffin from 50 years ago, Peyton Manning from 30 years ago, Eli Manning from, 15 years ago, whatever. That can be a lot of pressure. And a lot of kids would crack under that pressure. And from what I can tell, Arch Manning is not. He's not hiding from the fame that his last name brings. It hasn't seemed to affect him negatively at all. But it is possible that last name is contributing some to his hype. I mean, you can't ignore the fact that the guy has not one but two living NFL Super Bowl winning quarterback champions, relatives. You can't ignore that. I mean, the bloodline is what it is. DNA and your genes are real, So, there's no hiding or denying that. So, do I think Arch Manning is a can't-miss prospect? No, I don't. I think it's possible he flames out. I don't think it's likely. Another concern I have with Arch Manning is, and this is for whoever gets him, whether it's Bama, Texas, or Georgia, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on who I think gets him here in a minute. How much pressure is going to come along with signing Arch Manning in terms of playing him right away? He's going to get a huge NIL deal, which means the boosters are going to want to see him on the field. His family's going to want to see him on the field. A lot of fans who are just enamored with his last name or just enamored with him in general because he's been in the headlines for so long as a recruit, a lot of fans are going to want to see him play right away. How much pressure does that put the coaching staff under? I don't know. Now let's talk about where I think he's going to go. Of the three schools that seem to be remaining, Texas, Georgia, and Alabama, I feel the most confident in scratching off one of those names. And again, he could still choose either any of the three. I'm not saying I'm about to name a school I don't think he's going to. Doesn't mean he's not. I just think this is the least likely right now. If I had to scratch one name off the Arch Manning list right now of the three, the name that I would scratch off, Alabama. Alabama's the best program in America. They have proven they can put quarterbacks in the NFL. They run a system that's friendly to QBs. If you can throw the ball, you're going to put up massive numbers in that system. We've seen it through multiple offensive coordinators going back 6-7 years to when Lane Kiffin was there. So it's a great place for a quarterback to go if you want to go to the NFL. It's a great place for a quarterback to go if you want to get developed. It's a great place for a quarterback to go if you want to win national titles. It's a great place for a quarterback to go if you want to put up ridiculous numbers and win a Heisman. Really no downsides to going there. So why would I scratch Alabama off the list? Well, a few weeks ago, they received a commitment from another quarterback for next year's class. Obviously, he's not as highly rated as Arch Manning. No one's as highly rated as Arch Manning. He's the number one overall prospect in America for next year's class. But Alabama did receive the commitment of a very highly rated 4-star quarterback that they're really, really high on. And maybe a couple of things there. Maybe Arch Manning looks at that and goes, if they really wanted me, would they have gone out and signed another guy? Maybe Alabama is looking at it and going, you know what? We don't think Arch Manning's going to pick us. We don't want to be left holding the bag here, so we're just going to go out and get someone else. Or maybe Alabama actually thinks this 4-star they got is better than Arch Manning. That is a possibility. Believe it or not, recruiting services are not 100% accurate 100% of the time. So I just feel like that, I don't want to say it probably takes Alabama off the list, but if you're looking to narrow the list down to two, I think right now maybe you put Alabama on the back burner a little bit, just because of those three teams, Texas, Georgia, and Alabama, Bama's the only one that has a current quarterback commitment for the 2023 class. Georgia has not signed another quarterback yet or gotten a commitment from one, and neither has Texas. So now you look at current quarterback situations. Well, Texas has a young Quinn Ewers. Now it's his second year in college, but it'll be his first year at Texas and his first year playing. So he has to stay in college at least this season and next season. So Texas could bring Arch Manning in. He could play behind Quinn Ewers next year. And then Arch Manning could be the guy in year 2 and year 3, right? 2024 and 2025. Then he could go pro. That works out pretty good unless he's hell-bent on starting year 1. Also, since Quinn Ewers has never played in college football before, he's at Ohio State last year, but he never got on the field. He was behind C.J. Stroud. It's possible Quinn Ewers ends up being overrated and not very good, in which case Arch Manning could show up and beat him out his true freshman year. All right, now let's look at the Alabama quarterback situation. Most likely Bryce Young's last year this year. He's 3 years removed from high school. He could come back and play another year. He's got a year of eligibility, but he won the Heisman last year. He's a favorite to win it again this year, and if he doesn't win it, he's probably going to be top 3 or 4 in the voting. Chances are he's gone after this year. So that leaves an opening at the quarterback position, but Alabama's got an extremely talented backup by the name of Jalen Milroe. I really like Jalen Milroe. I'm not looking forward to Alabama having him as a QB. He's a lot more, he's a much better runner than Bryce Young is. Now, it remains to be seen how he plays under pressure, how he does avoiding live action in games and things like that, because we just haven't seen that much of it because he's been a backup last year and now this year. But his ability and his potential is through the roof. So maybe Arch Manning looks at that and goes, dang, well, I might be behind a third-year Jalen. So anyway, and then you look at Georgia. They're going to have Stetson Bennett this year. He's been in college for 19 years, so this was his last year of eligibility. He's gone. But behind him, you've got not one, not two, but 3 very highly rated quarterbacks already on the roster. Brock Vandergriff is in his 3rd year this year, heading into his 3rd year. No, Carson Beck. Carson Beck is heading into his 3rd year. Yet to really get on the field, stuck behind Fromm and Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels and blah, blah, blah. But he was a very highly rated 4-star. Behind him, you've got Brock Vandergriff, a 5-star, heading into his 2nd year, yet to see the field for the same reasons. And then this year, we signed a very highly rated 4-star, Gunnar Stockton. So 2 4-stars and a 5-star on the roster already at UGA. So seems to me Texas roster-wise makes the best sense. So let's pretend Alabama's out since they already decided on a QB, and where should he go between Georgia and Alabama? Now, I'm a Georgia fan. I would love to get him. If for no other reason, then that means he doesn't go somewhere else. Now, I'm under no delusions that he'll ever play it down at Georgia. Look at, if you look at Kirby Smart's quarterback decisions, and I'm not going to turn this into a Kirby Smart QB video, but being the most talented quarterback on the roster at UGA almost guarantees you that you're not going to start. There have been very few years under Kirby Smart where the most talented quarterback has started. So, to me, that's a negative against Georgia. You look at the offense that Georgia runs. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver. Since what? Terrence Edwards? Oh, my God. That was 20 years ago. Georgia hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver in 20 years. Our leading wide receiver last year was Jermaine Burton. He had less than 500 yards. Now he's at Alabama. Georgia has not been known, not just under Kirby Smart, but really going back in the history of Georgia's program, as being a team that is quarterback friendly. Just hasn't been the case. In fact, if you look at Georgia's last 2 national titles in 1980, Buck Bellew was the quarterback. He attempted 1 pass in the national title game. Now, I know that was a long time ago. And then, of course, we had Stetson Bennett as our quarterback this last year when we won the national title, and he was a walk-on, and he had less than 3,000 total yards last year. Georgia's just not a place, at least historically and traditionally and recently, where a quarterback goes to put up huge numbers. I think that works against Georgia. Over at Texas, now, they've been struggling lately. If winning a national title or division titles or making playoffs is high on the list for Arch Manning, I don't know what sense it would make to go to Texas. But I do like Steve Sarkisian. I think he's great with quarterbacks. I like his offensive mind. And even though Texas has struggled for 10 years, really, I do feel like Texas has some potential to get it turned around with Steve Sarkisian as the head coach. Now, it's kind of a prove-it year this year for Texas. Lost to Kansas last year, lost like 5 of their last 6 games or something. It was a horrible year last year for Sarkisian. He's got to turn it around this year, but I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Sarkisian, and they still recruited at a really high level. If I had to bet $1 right now where Arch Manning ends up going, my dollar's on Texas. Now, I'm not basing that on any inside information. No one has called me and told me anything or messaged me or whatever. Like I said, I don't really follow recruiting that much. This is just gut instinct, opinion, and just sort of the feeling I have knowing what I know about the 3 programs still left in the recruitment of Arch Manning: Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. I feel like Alabama is falling behind mainly because they already signed another quarterback. I feel like Georgia might be a little bit behind Texas because of the offense we run and the numbers that our quarterback puts up or doesn't put up over the last. We haven't had a quarterback go over 3,000 yards in a season since Aaron Murray, and that was 10 years ago. I want you to think about how college football has changed in the last 10 years. You almost have to intentionally not go over 3,000 yards as a QB over a 10-year period. So I feel like those things work against Georgia. Between Georgia and Texas, if he's looking to go to the best program, the best team, the best program that gives him an opportunity to win a bunch of games and conference titles and playoffs and national titles, that's Georgia. Georgia's got a clear advantage right now over Texas in terms of the hierarchy of college football. I'm not talking about overall. Texas is going to come in here with the blue blood comments, and that's fine. Yeah, I agree. You were amazing in the black and white TV days, but right now, Georgia's in better shape than you are. It's just reality. I still think he ends up choosing Texas. Just my 2 cents. There you go. Quit asking me about it. All right, there you go. That's my thoughts on Arch Manning. So anytime anybody asks me about Arch Manning from now on, I'm just going to refer them to that video because I'm just tired of answering Arch Manning questions. I'm just sick of it at this point. You know what? It reminds me of. It reminds me of a presidential election year, and they start running campaign ads like a year before the election, and it's just nonstop. I mean, you can't turn on TV, the radio, YouTube, the internet. It's just everywhere you look. It's just campaign ads, campaign ads, campaign ads. That's how it's gotten with Arch Manning, and I'm just over the whole thing. It's not that I don't like Arch Manning or that I don't think he's any good or whatever. It's just the market is saturated with Arch Manning opinions and content and stories at this point. I'm just sick of hearing about it. I'm just sick of hearing about it. It's almost to the point now where I've tuned out. I scroll through Facebook or Twitter or whatever, ESPN, whatever, and I see a headline with the word Arch Manning in it, and I just block it out. I just keep on scrolling at this point anymore. You know? It's nothing against Arch Manning. I have no reason to believe he's anything other than a great kid with a bright future and a lot of potential. I feel like I've been force-fed Arch Manning stories for a year and a half, and I'm just tired of hearing about it. I guess from what I hear, he wants to make up his mind and announce a decision before his football season starts. So, you know, maybe he commits in July. I mean, honestly, that's the only thing I'm interested in at this point. When he commits, someone let me know. You know, when he makes a decision or an announcement, let me know. Anything else about him between now and then, I have exceeded my quota at this point on Arch Manning stories and information. I really just feel like I can't take it anymore. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Am I on right now?
Yeah, you're on.
Uncle Lou, what's up, baby?
What's up, buddy?
Am I allowed to be blue, or do I have to be PC?
No, this is Uncle Lou After Dark. Say whatever you want.
Man, listen. Now the kid's under 18, so I feel bad for calling him a piece of shit, but he's about to be a 9-figure man, so I really don't. So let me tell you something. I live in New York now. I used to live in Vegas, and the only thing I did that was bet college football. That was the only thing that I did from 9 a.m. to the day ended, 15 hours straight.
You're my hero.
So
you're my hero.
Here's what I want you to understand about me. If the Ku Klux Klan and Black Lives Matter were playing against each other, and the Klan was favored by 3.5, and I had the Klan and they covered, in honor, I would wear a robe the next day. I only care about the money. I don't care about feelings. I don't care about anything other than the money.
I got you.
So when I see this kid, I see a problem. First of all, you nailed it. There's a huge red flag on him from the minute he steps on any campus he's on. There's a huge target on him. Second of all, forget about the semantics. Let's go about the actual football. The football that he throws is way too flat. You can't teach a quarterback to step into his throws. That's instinct. It's instinct whether it's something. It's almost fight or flight when there's pressure coming to either step into it or step away from it. All of his throws, he steps back from. That could be a part of the problem of why his balls are so flat. Nonetheless, I don't think you can teach a quarterback to have the confidence to step into his throws. The competition he's playing against, I think that's suspect as well. And as soon as he gets on an SEC campus, I just think he's going to be exposed by a defense. He never scans his backside. If you look at all of his throws, by the way, the lollipops, they're damn near cow trash lollipops that he's putting up. But he never scans his backside. He never, if his first or his second option isn't open, he's taking off and running. That's going to be a problem. And you know what else is going to be a problem and real awkward? Come week 9 or week 10, when he takes off and he comes out of the pocket and he gets nailed by one of them D linemen and he has to go out for a quarter or two, and the backup comes in and he actually starts balling, and now you got a controversy on your hand. Do you start Arch Manning, or do you start this no-name kid who came in and who tore it up? And I'll let you go real quick. I know I've been kind of heavy. But you said something about Trevor Lawrence. Dude is 100% correct. I had heard about Trevor Lawrence for a long time before I ever saw him. And all I heard was hype, hype, hype. I'm like, let me see this kid so I can finally put this to bed. You know how many throws it took me watching him to realize he was the greatest
Not very many
quarterback? It took me the second throw for me to realize this was the greatest amateur quarterback that I've ever seen, who could have easily skipped college and went to the pros.
Yeah.
And he's not that. He's not that. So, I mean, I guess it's hacky to say that if his last name wasn't Manning, where he would be. But in all honesty, if his last name was not Manning, this is at best a 3-star quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Best.
A 3-star.
At best.
Well, hell, he might be able to start. He might actually get the starting job at Georgia then if he's really a 3-star.
Well, you know what? I think he would fit. I think he would fit at Georgia, but Ohio State wouldn't recruit this sucker. I think there's a huge bust potential. Now they're going to put training wheels on him, and because he's a Disney story and he's a Manning, he's a legacy, they're going to drive that into the ground. But I just look at him, and sometimes you can. The thing about football is, forget about stats, forget about numbers. It's all psychology, and you can just look into somebody's eyes and see if they have it or not. I'm looking in his eyes. The kid don't have it. I know he's got good lineage. I know he's got the pedigree. I know he's got the training. This kid, in my opinion, this kid doesn't have it. So, like I said, I only care about the money. And the best thing about this, nepotism like this, it can take you far in the corporate world, and you can get a good job. But you know what? These games have a betting line, so we can talk shit all day. But you know what? There's going to be a betting line for his game, and the public is Joe Public is going to smash his games because of his name, and it's going to be a great betting opportunity for anybody wanting to fade whatever team he goes to. I will be fading for the first month because I just think there's a bunch of red flags. Hey, Luke, I appreciate you letting me go long. Yo, I love your show. And you're a fucking, you're the underground fucking Paul Feinbaum for everybody. And so you keep doing your thing, bro. And even in the off season, you still grinding. And I've been fucking itching to get this off my chest, dude. I know a bust when I see one. I know a great quarterback when I see. It took me the second series of Tyler Van Dyke to realize, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't continue pounding Virginia in this live betting. Like it does not take long. When you see a good quarterback, it does not take long.
I'm with you on Tyler Van Dyke, by the way. I'm with you on he's and even as good as he was the last 6 weeks of the season last year, he's still under the radar. People don't talk about him. They don't mention him. They just look at the U on the helmet and they go, well, 7-5. I think Miami could be. He might be the best quarterback in the ACC.
He is the best quarterback in the ACC, and Miami is going to be a problem because they were a shit show last year, and just with a little bit of guidance and head coach, a lot of those games I think they could have been more competitive. But Tyler Van Dyke is. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and laud him as a potential Heisman, but good God Almighty, that's an NFL quarterback, and I don't need any recruiting service to tell me. I don't need any type of stuff. You can tell it with your eyes. That's an NFL quarterback. That's what they look like, dropping dimes, the size and everything.
Yeah,
And
well,
so,
and Miami
it's-
struggled last year, but Tyler Van Dyke didn't get the start until halfway through the season, and Miami won 5 of their last 6 games. I mean, they turned it around as soon as they put him in.
Yeah, and they didn't have much. The offense was I forget what I don't know if Rhett Lashley was the offense, but the offense was horrible.
Yeah.
He carried that offense
Yes.
with an NFL arm. So that when you that's the best thing about college football is that when you see a good quarterback, when you see a good play, when you see a Sunday player playing on Saturday, it's quite obvious. And so Arch Manning, he's going to play on Sundays because of his name, but he's going to be lunch meat for some D lineman who's going to end up getting some type of Mercedes dealership after 3 or 4 sacks on him. And so I can't wait till he steps on any campus.
Yeah, that's one thing people forget sometimes. The NFL doesn't care what your team's record was in college. That's not what they're drafting you off of. You know, look at Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the guy, what was he, a 500 quarterback in college or whatever he was at Texas Tech? Now he's the best quarterback in the league. Tom Brady, no one knew who the fuck Tom Brady was when he was at Michigan. You know, all these Alabama quarterbacks that have won national titles, where are they at in the NFL? Tua can't complete a pass. Jalen Hurts is a tight end playing quarterback. They don't care what you did in college or where you played or what your record was. If you're an NFL quarterback, the NFL will find you, whether you're on an 8-4 Miami team or whether you're on a 15-0 Alabama team. The NFL will find you if you're an NFL quarterback.
They will find. Hey, you know what? I'll let you go. But you just brought up Big Pineapple. But I'm gonna tell you what. You know who's a real money maker?
Pineapple Jr.
Pineapple. Listen, little Pineapple is gonna play on Sundays. Okay.
I don't speak pineapple,
nice
Will.
long ball, and he puts touch under that thing. And when he leaves the pocket, he's not looking to scramble. He's looking to keep the play alive to throw it downfield. Little Pineapple is going to play in the league. He's going to wait. Listen to me. You win you some free money this year betting on Little Pineapple.
I've already said Maryland's not winning the Big Ten East, but they're going to beat somebody they're not supposed to beat because of him.
Oh, for 100%. And I believe they brought back 2 of their receivers who are NFL receivers, Jarrett, and there's some other kid. Like you said, I'm not saying Maryland's going to win the Big Ten, but Little Pineapple, in my opinion, is the Sunday player.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Lou, I appreciate you letting me go on, and enjoy your day, brother.
Yeah, man, it was good to hear from you. Thanks for coming on. Some of y'all clowning him in the comment section because of that comparison he made early on, but that guy has some football knowledge there. You know, you might disagree with some of the things he said, but that guy knew what he was talking about. To his point too on, and I don't know this to be true, like I said about Arch Manning, because I'm not a recruiting guru, but he made the point about Arch Manning having a trouble under pressure or stepping into throws with defenders in the pocket and things like that. That's my issue with these camps and these 7-on-7 drills. It seems to me as a quarterback, you're going to look the best you're ever going to look in a camp or in a 7-on-7 drill. I'm no Tom Brady, but I could complete a pass or two with no pass rush at all, period. You know, what do you do when there's 2 300-pound linemen bearing down on you from each side? How do you react then? And I don't know if what he said about Arch Manning in that situation is true. I'm just pointing that out to make a point about some of these camps. You know, a camp is good to see how far a guy can throw, how fast a guy can run. Maybe even reading a coverage. But as far as how a guy is going to play in a real-world situation, these camps and 7-on-7 drills are worthless, in my opinion. I'm not saying, worthless is the wrong word. You can learn something from camps and 7-on-7 drills, clearly. But it's not a foolproof indication of how a kid is going to play in a real game. That's my issue with these 7-on-7s and these Elite 11 camps and things like that. It's more like a showcase than it is, an actual football game or any kind of actual competition. All right, click the StreamYard link if you want to come on the show today to give us your opinions on Arch Manning or whatever it is you want to talk about today. It doesn't have to be Arch Manning related. I always, or I try to always pick a topic for the call-in shows, but what we talk about is up to you when you come on the show. If you don't want to talk Arch Manning, look, nothing would make me happier than for you to come on and talk about something other than Arch Manning. But click the StreamYard link. It's in the description of the video. It's been posted in the comment section several times. Hit the thumbs up if you hadn't already. 173 people in here right now and 104 thumbs up, which is really, really good. But I think we can get it to 125. So if you've enjoyed the show so far and you haven't hit the thumbs up, it's very quick. It's easy. It doesn't take any time, effort, or energy at all. Click that thumbs up button. It really helps out, especially on the live shows. And if you're looking to support the show, Cash App, Super Chat, and PayPal are great ways to do it. The Super Chat icon is right below the comment section. The PayPal and Cash App links are in the description of the video. These live shows are supported only by direct donations, so that's what keeps these shows on the air. So if you're in a position where you can support the show, those are great ways to do it. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Oh, you got me eating popcorn. Sorry. What's up, Uncle Lou?
Eating popcorn and watching Uncle Lou is probably one of the best things you could do with your time.
Absolutely. Just
Yes.
got done, doing some work, and now I'm relaxing a little bit. Well, I actually didn't have anything. I definitely didn't have Arch Manning on my mind after the metric, dump truck full of news that we get about him, what seems like every day.
Yeah, that's my issue. And I'm almost starting to feel bad for Arch Manning because he didn't ask for any of this. In fact, he's the opposite. Some players do ask for this attention. Some players are all over social media, putting videos out, announcing top fives, and, they want the limelight. This isn't Arch Manning. Trying to get any actual information out of Arch Manning is like trying to get blood from a turnip. The guy keeps to himself. He doesn't do interviews. He's not all over social media. So it's not that he's seeking all this attention. It's just that it's being heaped on him because of his last name. It's not his fault.
Absolutely. That guy has grown up in the limelight since he was born. Whether it was him or not, doesn't really matter. He knows what it's like to be in that environment just because of who his family is.
Yeah, who remembers? We all remember the recruitment of Zach Evans from a couple of years ago, the running back. Zach Evans was the anti-Arch Manning. Zach Evans never turned down an interview. He was on social media constantly. He was posting top fives and top threes constantly. He would commit, uncommit, recommit, decommit, commit to a different school, then unenroll and transfer, and then play 1 year somewhere. Now he's transferred again. Some of these people go out looking for all this attention. Arch Manning isn't out looking for the attention. It's just getting heaped on him because of his last name and the fact that he's a pretty good high school QB.
Absolutely. You know what? So to veer off Arch Manning a little bit, since we talked about him a lot, I was thinking the other day about JT Daniels of West Virginia, just because it seems like everyone's forgotten about him since he transferred away.
Yeah.
I think you said earlier this offseason that West Virginia probably won't be that good. And I'll admit I don't know that much about them other than JT Daniels plays for him now, but how much of an impact do you think he's going to have on their record?
I think JT Daniels at West Virginia is worth an extra 2 wins. Now, the problem is I think West Virginia is about a 5 or 6 win team. So I think now they're about a 7 or an 8 win team. I just don't overall. I don't think West Virginia is going to have a very good year, even in the Big 12. When I look at teams that I think are ahead of West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas, maybe Iowa State. They lost a lot last year. I think those are the games that maybe JT Daniels gets you a win where it would have been a loss. Maybe Iowa State, maybe Kansas State. But overall, I still think West Virginia is probably, 6th in the Big 12.
No. I almost wanted him to transfer to Mizzou more because, I didn't because then we'd have to play him. But I kind of wanted, if there was going to be a game where JT could just shut up all those Georgia fans that crapped on him for seemingly no reason, it would be an SEC East versus SEC East game. But now I think he's going to be playing for that West Virginia team. And then when their record isn't great, all the people that, were already looking for reasons to crap on JT will say, well, look at that. The team he's playing on sucks, so that means he sucks too.
Yeah, no, that's not true. And this goes to what I was talking about for a few minutes with the previous caller. If JT Daniels is an NFL quarterback, it doesn't matter what West Virginia's record is at the end of this year. He's going to get drafted. He's going to be an NFL quarterback. If he's not an NFL quarterback, look, is Stetson Bennett going to get drafted? No. No. And he's a national champion winning quarterback. JT Daniels could go 5-7 this year. If he's an NFL quarterback, he's going to get drafted. Period.
Absolutely. Like I was thinking like, oh, maybe JT's a little too much of a glass cannon, but Tua got drafted, so.
Yeah, I mean, look, JT Daniels has not lost a game as a starting quarterback since 2018.
Yeah.
He's not garbage.
Not garbage.
Now, we'll see how he does. You know, he hasn't played really. He really didn't play at all last year. He played the Clemson game hurt, and then he played pointless reps in 2 or 3 other games for Georgia last year. But so, shake some rust off type of thing. And he's not very mobile, which kind of hurts him in today's football. Yep. But he's got an NFL arm.
And he's got his offensive coordinator back at West Virginia.
Right. And that's a big deal, too, because, he doesn't have to learn new terminology for what would be a third time. He can revert to what he was familiar with at Southern Cal.
I do forget sometimes that he is pretty old. I mean, he was in the class with Fields and Lawrence, wasn't he?
He was the third-ranked quarterback in the 2018 class behind Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
I always think that's like last year, but that was like 4 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, I'm going to go back to enjoying my popcorn and enjoying the show.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. That's you, Brandon.
Oh, what's up?
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you just fine.
All right, what's up?
I'm doing a call-in show. What are you up to?
Nothing. Just came in to hop in, talk about college football.
Good idea.
Can we talk about who can we talk about? Can we talk about Arch Manning? Because I hear a lot of people saying that he just wants all the all the attention and stuff.
No.
Which I don't know if I agree with that.
He hasn't sought any attention at all. In fact, he's a recluse.
He's a recruit. Anyway.
This is one of the most tight-lipped recruitments in history. There's no information out there unless it comes directly from him.
True. I think. Yes, I'm still here.
That's good.
I think he. Where do you think he's going to commit?
Where?
Yeah.
Texas.
I think he's going to commit to Georgia. I feel like.
I hope he commits to Georgia, because even if he doesn't, even if he rides the bench at Georgia, that means he's not playing somewhere else.
I feel like it's better for him to go to Georgia because there's no really good quarterback. He's way better than JT Daniels. I mean, not JT Daniels. Stetson Bennett. I feel like that is way better.
Well, Stetson Bennett will be gone by the time this is Stetson's last year, so Stetson Bennett's got nothing to do with it. It's the 3 guys behind him he'd have to compete with: Carson Beck, Brock Vandergriff, and Gunnar Stockton.
Oh, Brock Vandergriff was a 5-star recruit, so that could be a challenge. But I don't really see much out of that. Also, I hear a lot of people get mad about the Alabama versus Texas game. It's an 11 a.m. game.
11 a.m. local time, 12 Eastern.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people get mad about that. For no reason, but I feel like, there's nothing you can be mad about. It's already said and done. Like, they already made their rule, and they said what they said, and it's just nothing you can do about it. And they even tried to put a petition up, literally just for people to beg for them to change it to a nighttime game. But it's
the thing is, Fox puts its best Big 12 game of the week on at noon because they're afraid to compete with the SEC at 3:30 and 7:30. That's just facts.
Yeah.
I don't care how much anybody hates the SEC. That's why Fox puts their biggest game of the week on at noon, because they are afraid to compete head-to-head with the biggest games in the SEC at 3:30 and 7:30. That's why they do it.
Yeah. The only times they really do put them at 2:30 are is like the crap games, like the two worst teams in the Big 12 going at it,
right?
For no reason.
Right.
Nobody like probably this year it's gonna be like Kansas and like let's say Iowa State that are both like Kansas is like 2-3 and Iowa State's like 4-1 and they're barely even good. It's
yeah. Now sometimes Fox will have a good Big 12 game on at night, but it's the second best Big 12 game of the day. The best Big 12 game of the day always comes on at noon.
Because they're scared to compete with the SEC because they're the big boys.
Right.
But also when the SEC is going to be stacked with quarterbacks if Arch Manning does go to Alabama or Georgia, the SEC. And even if he does go to Texas, because Texas will be heading to the SEC as well. Just like Oklahoma, and we got Jackson Arnold, who's also a 5-star as well. So
right.
SEC will be loaded with quarterbacks. That just shows how big the SEC is and how much talent they can recruit.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. Thanks for coming on, buddy. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Lou, sir, how are you?
Hey, Slim. What's up, bud?
I don't want to talk about Arch Manning.
Did you hear me and the other guy pumping up Tyler Van Dyke a minute ago?
I didn't. I just got done offloading.
Ah,
as a matter
okay.
of fact.
Yeah, somebody called in and he was talking about. He started off talking about Arch Manning, but then he moved on to Tyler Van Dyke, and he said Tyler Van Dyke best quarterback in the SEC.
To be determined.
Could be.
I'd put him a solid top 3 right now, maybe number 1 as the season goes. We'll see.
If Jerkovic can stay healthy, he's good at Boston College. The guy at Wake Forest, is it Sam Hartman? Is that his name? He puts up ridiculous numbers.
That NC State quarterback's pretty good, too.
The NC State. So, at worst, I think he's the 4th best returning QB, and I think at the end of the season, he'll be higher than that.
I think you're probably right. I mean, I have my doubts about, all of a sudden a new offense. I tend to run on the theory that can sometimes set players back a year. So we'll see what kind of effect that has. But Josh Gaddis is known for tailoring his offense to what he has to work with. So I think that may mitigate any kind of step back you can have with a new coordinator.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I came on, though, it kind of piggyback on the conversation that got started last night, and a lot.
No. We're not going there today.
No. I'm not talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Before that, the actual conversation.
I feel like I've been dealing with the fallout from that all day, so I don't need to do it on the show.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't wish that upon George. But I'm seeing a lot of it in the comment section too, and I realize it's fun to focus on what stupid people say, but I mean, I don't think anybody in the comment section is really taking it seriously when some random Miami fan says Miami's going to the playoffs. They're not going to the playoffs. Why would you even take that kind of statement seriously?
I think it's because Alonzo made a video called Miami is Back.
Well, and they might be, but we're back every year. They make a living.
You big dummy.
Sorry, it's just reflex. Every time I mention Alonzo, my hand automatically goes over and clicks that button.
I understand. It happens. Involuntary action. But, no, listen, even I may come on here and troll a little bit, but I think reasonably, much like the argument you made for JT at West Virginia, I think the upgrade in coaching is worth a couple of more wins over what they had last year.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think any team that takes on a new coaching staff that wins 10 games is almost unbelievable. Like that, and I think Miami has a chance to do that. Whether it's 10-2 or whether it's 9-3 with a bowl win, I mean, you go back and you just I talk about it all the time. Georgia won 10 games under Kirby Smart in 2015. I mean, under Mark Richt in 2015. Kirby comes in 2016 with basically the same team and goes 7-5. Now, he'd never been a coach before, so it's a little bit different. But when you have a coaching change, a lot changes. The terminology, the offensive and defensive philosophies, all of the coaches change. You usually have a lot of turnover on the roster. Some players leaving, some players coming in, that kind of thing. So no matter how good or bad you were the year before, if you can get to 9 or 10 wins in the first year of a coaching staff, that's a huge success. And I think Miami's got way over a 50% chance of winning 9+ games.
Yeah, I think that the schedule obviously is going to run favorably, especially in that division of the ACC. But, I mean, to go back to Van Dyke, I mean, that's the most important position on the field. And, I mean, if he can replicate what he did half a season last year, I mean, that puts him at 5,000 yards and, somewhere around 40 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's definitely doable.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have that standout number one receiver as of yet like he had in Charleston Rambo last year.
But he's got a better quarterback. When specifically talking about Gaddis, because he came from Michigan.
Right.
I'm drawing a blank on the Michigan, not McCarthy, but the one that started. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Van Dyke is better than him.
Yes.
From what we've seen from Van Dyke, which is a limited sample size, 6 starts or whatever it is at the last half of last season. But he was better than anything I saw Michigan's quarterback do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not to say that they don't have talent at wide receiver. You're not going into the season with that clear number one guy.
I agree with you on Miami. I think they've got some talented wide receivers, but they don't have, like you said, you look at what they have coming back, even recruiting class-wise or whatever, and there's no clear standout like that guy's getting 800 yards receiving. Like, there's just,
right.
That's to be determined.
Yeah, the only one that I could point to preseason and say there's a high possibility of it, and it's from talking to people like Jordan Bowman and Pete, is that the Clemson transfer, Frank Ladson. The only problem he really had at Clemson is he was injury prone. So if he can have a season without that, I mean, I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", 195. So he's got good size, and he's definitely got the height for the 50-50 balls.
Yeah. Cade McNamara, that's right. Thank you, comment section. Several people typed in McNamara. That was the Michigan quarterback's name, Cade McNamara. And even a lot of the Michigan fans wanted McCarthy to be starting instead of him. But, yeah, I think Tyler Van Dyke better than McNamara, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think he'll end up being the key to basically what they end up doing this year, whether it's, 9-3 like I think, or even a game better. You never know if the ball bounces the right way. 2 games better. Who knows?
Right.
I've seen weirder things happen. I mean, it's not inconceivable that they go to College Station and win and run through the Coastal. I mean, they're the most talented team in that division. But that's the argument I've been making with Miami fans for 15 years is they've been the most talented team in that division for 15 years.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before, but whatever anybody thinks the talent level is at Miami right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, whatever you think the talent level is, if you think it's a 5 or you think it's an 8, it's about to be a lot higher.
Yeah, and that's why I made that point last night too. As a matter of fact, that and I get Sir UGA's point to me that no real season is a wash. But because of that very point is why I'm not putting a whole lot of stock into this year. I'll put a whole lot of stock in 2024 when he's brought in 2 full recruiting classes of his own.
Right.
And probably by then, I mean, they're borderline a top 10 roster now. They were like 13 last year. I don't know where exactly they're going to fall out this year. Those rankings haven't come out yet. But I mean, I'm fairly certain to say that they'll have a top 10 roster in the country by then.
Yeah, and when you have a first-year coaching staff, anything other than total meltdown is kind of a mulligan season anyway, right? Like,
Right.
if for some reason Miami were to go 7-5 this year, I don't think that's any indication that they screwed up by hiring Mario Cristobal. Like, unless Miami goes 3-9 or 4-8 or something like that, like, I'm not going to look at Miami, regardless of what their record is, and say, well, shouldn't have hired Mario Cristobal. It's a throwaway, not a throwaway season. That's, like you said, it's the wrong word to use. But you get a mulligan your first year, unless there's an off the field issue, or unless you just totally implode like Auburn did last year under Harsin, losing.
Yeah,
like the last
and I
6
made that
games or
point right after Mario was hired, and Miami fans hated me for it. I said, not knowing a thing. Literally the day after he was hired, somebody went live, and I went on their show, and I told them, I said, if I had to bet money on it, Miami's going to go 6-6. And as a matter of fact, I used Kirby as an example because that happens quite a bit. When you bring in a new coaching staff, you tend to have a worse record than you did the previous year.
Yeah, I mean, some coaches, all coaches have a certain philosophy, right? And then they recruit to that philosophy. Well, if you bring in a different coaching staff that has a different philosophy, one of the big issues with Georgia in Kirby's first year, and I admit this all the time, I'm not a technical X's and O's guy, okay? So if what I'm saying sounds ignorant or elementary or something, then so be it. Georgia ran under Mark Richt a zone blocking scheme along the offensive line, which called for smaller but quicker offensive linemen. Kirby did not want to run that. And the offensive line and the blocking scheme that Kirby wanted to use called for bigger, stronger offensive linemen. So Kirby in his first year was running the offensive line scheme that he believes in and he wanted to run, with 5 offensive linemen who were undersized and were coached for 4 years on zone blocking. So it's not even an indication that Georgia's offensive line was terrible in 2016. It would be like, it's like when Jeff Collins took over Georgia Tech. You've got a roster full of players on offense that were recruited to run the triple option. You can't just turn those players into pro-style players. It doesn't work that way. So the first year is a wash. I mean, you've got to get your own people in there. Hey, Slim, thanks for coming on, buddy. I'm going to let you go because we're running a little short on time. But as always, I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. I had fun.
All right, buddy. We got 2 people left to come on, Grant and then George. I've been on for an hour and a half, though, and I have to take a pee-pee break. So just give me 2 minutes. We'll get you on, Grant, and then, George, you'll be up after that. I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
She calls me from the cold, just when I was low, feeling short of stable. All that she intends, and all she keeps inside is in on the label. She says she's ashamed, can she take me for a while? Can I be a friend? We'll forget the past, or maybe I'm not able, and I break at the bend. We're here and now, will we ever be again? 'Cause I have found all that shimmers in this world is sure to fade away again. She drinks champagne dream, strawberries of her eyes, think lead in a white paper, lavender and cream, fills up butterflies, reality escapes her. She says that love is for fools that fall behind, and I'm somewhere
Thanks for being patient. We are back. Couple of calls left here. Elijah, thank you for the super chat. Interesting question. If Kirby would have went to USC Junior, South Carolina, would he have had as much success? I believe the rumor that Georgia was on the fence about Mark Richt, and what put them over the edge was the possibility of watching Kirby Smart move to Columbia, South Carolina to be the head coach. South Carolina had offered the job to Kirby before Mark Richt was fired, and I do believe that that was what pushed the Georgia administration over the line to make the move to fire Mark Richt and go after Kirby. No, I don't think he would have had as much success at South Carolina as he has had at Georgia. But South Carolina would be a 9-10 win team year in and year out, with the potential to maybe do more. But he would not have got to the point he's at now as quickly at South Carolina as he had at Georgia. I don't believe. Nor do I think Nick Saban would have 6 national titles at South Carolina. So it's nothing against Kirby, nothing against Saban. Certain teams have certain built-in advantages, and so that's my thoughts on that. Pinecone, thank you for the super chat. What's the deal with the thumbnail? What is the I don't even know what the thumbnail is. What is the thumbnail? Is it some kind of a weird thumbnail? I don't know. I thought it was always the same thumbnail. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with the thumbnail. I can't look at the thumbnail right now. I have to. Well, yeah, I can. What is the thumbnail? Oh, there is no thumbnail. I don't know how that happened. All right, couple more calls. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou.
Hey, what's up, bud?
I just got 2 quick questions for you.
All right.
One, if you were, let's say, you're a national title-winning coach, would you rather win a championship at like a school like a Michigan or an Ohio State, or would you rather win one at like a Vanderbilt?
You know what? I don't think it would matter I think a coach that wins a national title, unless it's a situation like, like Kirby, where you grew up in the state, played for that school. I think maybe that means a little bit more than winning a national title at a school you're not directly related to. But as far as winning one at Michigan or Vandy, just based off of what that would mean, I don't really think the coach would care one way or the other. It obviously would be a bigger accomplishment to win one at Vandy. I mean, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. And then my second quick question. So I'm entering my sophomore year of college, and one of the things I was thinking about doing was starting like a college football YouTube channel about my team, Virginia, and just like a little regional thing, nothing too big. And I was just wondering if you had any advice for that.
Yeah, I get asked this all the time. I give the same advice to people all the time. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, start it yesterday.
Okay.
Because no matter how much thought you put into it, no matter how much money you put into it, your videos are going to suck for a certain amount of time. Chances are. Mine did. Hell, some of mine still do. The point is, there are certain things about YouTube. There are certain things about being on camera. There are certain things about microphones and sound and lighting that you only can learn from doing it. And no amount of money will enable you to learn that quicker. All right. And the other piece of advice I give to people is, you don't need $10,000 worth of equipment. Now, I might have, I don't know, I've never added it up, but I might have 10,000, or somebody else might have $100,000 worth of equipment. I did this channel for 5 years with nothing but a cell phone. That's all you really have to start a YouTube channel, in my opinion, is a cell phone and an idea and something to talk about. That's it. So start yesterday. Don't worry about, such and such has microphones and lights, and I know this other guy's got a $3,000 computer, and I don't have any of that, so why should I waste my time? No. Start. The other thing is, be yourself. Don't try to imitate anyone else. Now, it's okay to get ideas from other people, because everybody does that. I mean, I'm talking about Arch Manning today. Why? Because everyone else is talking about Arch Manning. So then people are going to say, oh, well, I see it all the time in other people's comment sections. They'll say, oh, this guy's trying to be Uncle Lou. That's ridiculous. When I first started, everyone told me, oh, you're trying to be so-and-so. Be yourself. You're still going to get accused of all that stuff. But the point is, if you want to talk about something, talk about it. It doesn't matter if someone talked about it yesterday or 5 minutes ago. If you want to talk about something, talk about it. Be as authentic. Be as an authentic version of yourself as you can be. Don't try to be something you're not. I've spent a lot of time today saying I'm not a recruiting expert, so I'm not going to pretend to be. I have a very base level understanding of recruiting and who what recruits are good and what I don't try to be anything. I'm a college football fan. I'm not an analyst. I'm not a recruiting guru. I'm just a college football fan. I get on here and I speak my mind. That's the best advice I can give you. The main thing is start, because there's a learning curve when it comes to YouTube. And that's everything from how you act and appear on camera, to how you title videos, to how you make your thumbnails, to how you fill in your description, to how you tag the video. There's a learning curve to all that. And no amount of reading or preparation is really going to teach you what you need to know about that. You really just have to start doing it. And don't get discouraged when you take 2 or 3 hours to make a video and 10 people watch it. I had this channel, I think, for 3 years before I ever got to 1,000 subscribers. Nowadays, people start a channel, they got 1,000 subscribers in a week. So don't get discouraged. You got to stick with it. And the last thing I'll tell you is be consistent. Everybody's schedule is different. Not everybody can right away go full time on YouTube. You don't have to do that. But if you have time to make a video once a week, make a video once a week. Try to make it on the same day every week, and try to upload it close to the same time every week. In other words, don't make people guess when, how long they're going to have to wait or when they're going to see your next video. You know what I mean? Now, if a week comes along where you've got some extra free time and you can make 2 videos that week instead of 1, make 2. But don't post a video on Monday and then post a video on Wednesday and then not make another video for 2 weeks and then wait a week and make another video. There's a reason the TV guide, there's a reason people like the TV guide on their TV. It's so they don't have to guess what time Friends is coming on. You know what I mean? Now, you can't stick to that 100% because everybody has different life circumstances, So you might be able to upload a video this Wednesday at 5 o'clock and next Wednesday you can't upload it till 6 o'clock. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just try to be somewhat consistent in what you do.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, dude.
Yes, sir. Good luck. And when you get your channel up and running, let me know, and I'll send some people over there.
All right. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Have a good day.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Take it easy. All right, George. What's the word today, buddy?
Oh, fuck. Scared me for a minute. I looked up.
I scared you?
On camera.
How do you think I feel?
I looked up.
How do you think I feel every time you turn your camera on?
I looked up and I saw myself. I was like, what the fuck? What am I looking at? All right. I'm still here.
What's on your mind? We have to make it quick.
Arch Manning.
Where do you think he's going?
I think Florida's a possibility. Maybe a Texas school. Who knows?
He's not going to Florida, George.
I don't know. I'm not even sure if I care. But while I was waiting, I went and looked at his high school highlights. He throws a pretty ball. I think in the right system somewhere, he might be able to spin that ball and do things.
Look. Arch Manning is a Louisiana man. So is Billy Napier. So is Billy Napier.
Yeah.
LSU didn't want Billy Napier, and neither does Arch Manning.
It'll be the, what do you call it? The something rejects.
Do you feel bad? Do you feel bad at all that you were Florida's second, or that you were Billy Napier's second choice?
Me?
Yeah, Florida was Billy Napier's second choice. Do you feel bad at all about that?
I didn't know that. Oh, you're saying he would have took LSU over us?
He wanted the LSU job, yeah.
Well, I guarantee he's happy it worked out this way.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Bear Bryant said that one day Florida is a crouching dragon, and when they wake up, he predicted we would be what Alabama is. You know that, right?
Well,
Bear
yeah.
Bryant.
And then you did that. You got Steve Spurrier, and you somehow won one national title with him.
Nah,
Amazing.
we didn't do what he predicted. We did a little bit. We need to do what Nick Saban did, win like 6 championships in 10 years.
That's
you know,
never gonna happen.
God darn, I hate fucking losing.
Nobody
from Florida cares if we win 10 or 11 games a year. We just want some national championships sprinkled in there, and we'll forget all about the 4-8 season.
Well, you had a national championship 14 years ago.
Hey, that's still not 20 or 40.
It's 14, though.
I know.
Hey, how many perfect seasons does Florida have?
0.
That's right. Never. Not in history. Not one single time. What a damn shame.
I care about national titles. I don't care about other stupid records.
Right.
How many does Georgia have?
More than 0.
Really? You got one?
More than 1 is more than 0. 2 is more than 0. Any number is more than 0.
Hey, do me a favor. You said the only Arch Manning show you ever do.
Yes.
Put a note after the show that says to be continued, because I want to do another show about Arch Manning when he's played 6 college games and rediscuss
Well,
this.
yeah. Now, once he's in college, yes, I will. Obviously, I'll talk about Arch Manning whenever it's relevant to what I'm talking about.
Right.
But I mean, as far as the recruitment of Arch Manning goes, today's video that I uploaded in this live show is it for me.
My first thought was the same as yours. Like, who is this kid? What, somebody can just crown you with glory and say you're the man? I mean, give me a break, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Shit.
I hear you.
I'm not even sure if I really hope we get him or not.
George, you're not getting them. It's down to Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. I mean, that's not an opinion. That's just. I'm gonna let you go, George. You got somebody calling. It was good to hear from you, though. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Liz? Nick. How you
Hey,
doing,
Nick.
buddy?
What's going on, bud?
I'm doing good, man. I believe he's going to either Texas or Georgia.
Yeah, me too.
I would love to have him. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have Arch Manning, but we've seen this show how many times? 1,000 times now that he'll just sit on the bench, and we'll start the least talented quarterback on our roster, and he'll transfer. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to have him.
Yeah, I said the same thing in the video. I said if Georgia gets him, if nothing else, that means he's not playing for someone else. So, I'll take that for a couple of years or whatever. And if he ends up not playing and transferring, at least he wasn't playing somewhere else.
True. Asman, I got a 2-part question, man. For you, I'm gonna talk a little bit about USC for a minute. I just want your honest opinion about this. Do you believe that Vince Young should have won the Heisman over Reggie that year? And do you also think Lincoln Riley can do what Pete Carroll did?
Let's see. Pete Carroll won 2 national titles or 1?
I think it's 2. I think 2. I believe 2.
Man, Pete Carroll was at Southern Cal at a sort of a weird time in college football. There was no dominant. Well, they were the dominant program. There really wasn't another one. Alabama was in the toilet. Georgia had won the SEC 2 of the previous 4 years. Man, can Lincoln Riley win 2 national titles? I think it's possible. I think if Lincoln Riley stays at Southern Cal, now can he win like 2 in a row or something like? I don't know about that. That's really hard to do. But if he's there for 10 years, could he win 2? I think it's possible.
Okay. I appreciate your comment. That's all. That's all I want to know. Appreciate your
Okay.
comment.
Yeah, good to hear from you. I mean, part of it is, the road is not too steep in the Pac-12 to get to playoff contention, There's not a lot of big boys out there that you've got to climb over to get yourself to a 13-0 or a 12-1 conference champion, which would probably put Southern Cal in the playoffs, right? And once you get in the playoffs, you've got a chance. And I've clowned Lincoln Riley a lot, mainly for defensive stuff, but he's a pretty good coach. He's got to start taking defense more seriously, or no, he's not going to win any national titles. Oh, yeah, do I think Vince Young should have won? Quarterbacks have an inherent advantage over running backs. I'll say this. Reggie Bush, if I look back over my lifetime of watching college football, I'm 44 years old. I've been watching college football for 30 years, 35 years. Reggie Bush is probably in my top 5 of favorite players to watch. Not talking about best players or most talented or whatever. He's probably in the top 5 of my favorite players to watch, though. Reggie Bush was a lot of fun to watch in college at Southern Cal. A lot of fun to watch. I don't even really know who in the last 10 years or so, who would you compare in college? You're talking just college. Who would you compare in the last 10 years or so to Reggie Bush? Saquon Barkley. Man, I'm having a hard time coming up with a comparison for Reggie Bush. He was really something to watch. It seemed like everyone's fast in college football, but it seemed like Reggie Bush was twice as fast as anyone else on the field every time he played. McCaffrey, I could see that. Dalvin Cook, yeah, maybe. It seemed like he was on another level. I'm too young to remember Herschel Walker, but people always, when you talk to people who saw Herschel Walker play, they all say the same thing. It looked like a high school kid playing with 6-year-olds. And now Bush didn't have the size and the power like that Herschel had, but he had the speed that he had, that Reggie Bush had. He seemed like he was twice as fast as the next fastest guy on the field when he played. It was really something to see. Adrian Peterson at Oklahoma. Darren McFadden at Arkansas. I mean, you're talking about some guys who every single time they got the ball, you held your breath. Bijan hasn't done enough yet in college to even be mentioned in the same breath of these people I'm talking about now. And I think Bijan Robinson's the best running back in football right now, but he hasn't done enough in college yet to be even mentioned in the same sentence with these people we're talking about right now. I feel like not enough people remember Darren McFadden at Arkansas because it's Arkansas. Darren McFadden was on another level. LeGarrette Blount, stop it. Come on. LeGarrette Blount is not in the same universe of the people we're talking about here. Darren McFadden was unreal. Run DMC, they called him, right? Yeah, Run DMC. Yeah, that's right. And had Felix Jones at the same time. Yeah, but Darren McFadden was unreal. Barry Sanders in college. Yeah, I'm trying to think about some of the guys from 20 plus 20 to 25 years ago in that range, but man, don't you kind of miss that a little bit about college football now? It's such a quarterback's game now. I kind of miss that about college football. It feels like you don't have like the I don't know, like when was the last time you feel like you truly saw a generational talent at running back? You know what I mean? Looking at it from just a Georgia perspective, Todd Gurley was probably the closest to that. Yeah, I mean Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry were good, but I don't know if either one of those guys are ever going to be remembered 30 years from now as being one of the best running backs in college football history. Yeah, Chubb was good. I think Gurley was better, but some people would pick Chubb, but I think pre-injury, Todd Gurley pre-injury was in my here's what I'll tell you. Here's what I will tell you. In my lifetime, with my own eyes, I'm talking in person in a stadium, Todd Gurley's the best running back I've ever seen. Period. I'm not saying he's the best running back of my lifetime. What I'm saying is the best. DeMarco Murray's another one. He was good. But the best running back I've ever seen with my own eyes is Todd Gurley. Hands down. And I've seen some good ones. I've seen Chubb. I've seen Sony Michel. I've seen DeAndre Swift. I've seen pretty much every Georgia running back going back 25 years, and then whoever Georgia happened to be playing. Todd Gurley's the best college running back I've ever seen with my own eyes. He was unbelievable. All right, everybody. I appreciate you tuning in. I had a great time today. I can't wait to do it again. Shout out to everybody that came on the show. Without callers, there is no call-in show, so y'all are the real heroes. No live shows tomorrow, but I'll be back Thursday. Until then, though, have a good morning.